What's the most boring sport to watch? Pro fencing is actually not very entertaining. They're so fast that you have no idea what happened. So it's a couple of people with swords bouncing back and forth for about 30 seconds, something happens, and then it's over. As a fencer I can confirm. Even if you're very familiar with the sport, it is very fast-paced and the calls can be difficult to see or even understand once points are awarded. That's why they both celebrate no matter who got the point. They're hoping the judges will assume they missed something. That's so lame. I hate sports where a strategy is to convince the referees of something. That's why I love that there is an embellishment penalty in hockey. Little League T-ball when your kid isn't up. You think T-ball is bad? Wait until your first year of kid pitch. An entire game of strikeouts and walks. When my sister got old enough for kids pitch softball, it was honestly the worst. The girls literally couldn't throw it hard enough to get over home plate. It was walk after walk after walk, and it was so hard watching all the parents continue to try and be supportive, but at this point literally nobody wants to be there. Not even the players. I don't understand, wouldn't they use age-appropriate distances for little kids? When I played, in Canada, we had a rank called rookie ball. A second umpire operated a pitching machine on the mound. The pitcher was more of a center infielder. It really helped smooth out those awkward years between T-ball and legit pitching. I saw a drone racing on ESPN the other day, and I was like, what the hell am I watching? Boring to watch, but probably pretty fun to do. My opinion of pretty much every sport, to be honest. I can respect the skill, and I'd bet it's kind of cool to see in person. But it just doesn't translate on TV, at all. It's entertaining for 5 minutes and then gets old real quick. He watched with excitement. He watched with delight. He watched as they raced and they circled in flight. He watched as the lights on them flickered and flit. And then, when he'd watched them, he said, "Is this it?" They're probably not the most boring, but the endless commercials and timeouts make American sports unbearable to watch. I love American football. However, the constant commercial breaks get so annoying. They'll score, then a commercial break, then come back for one play to kick off to the opposing team, then go back to commercial already. Red Zone is your friend. 7 hours of commercial-free football. We have 7 of the 8 games currently within one score. We're in the 4th quarter in 6 of them. Folks, it is official. It is the witching hour. Where losses become wins and wins become losses. Golf. I thought watching golf was bad until I had a long drive with my old boss during the US Open. Turns out golf on the radio is worse. That's actually an old joke. What's more boring than golf on TV? Golf on radio. My cousin golfed all his life. When I was 10, I spent the summer at my aunt's after moving a few provinces away, and she made me caddy for my cousin. That's the most boring way to witness golf. Rowing. I have been rowing competitively for years and I understand the nuances, yet it's still the dullest thing in the world. Most entertaining thing is when somebody accidentally ends up in the wrong lane. I feel so bad for them, but yeah. A boxing or MMA fight with 2 defensive fighters. Nothing more boring than watching 2 people just circle one another and actively avoid doing the one thing that everyone is paying to see them do. If you wait on the river long enough, the corpse of your enemies will float by. Sun Tzu. Someday I will actually read The Art of War just so I can tell if someone is trolling or not when they quote it. Stay strapped or get clapped. Sun Tzu. Fuck around and find out. Sun Tzu. Come at me, bro. Sun Tzu. Fishing. When people start putting lead weights in the fish, it's effing go time. We've got weights in fish. Esports when you don't play the game they play. I find that FPS games are really easy to follow even if you have no idea about the game. Like before I knew anything about CSGO, I could still watch CSGO esports since all I really needed to enjoy was the killing aspect of the game. I've had mixed success with that. I can't tell what's going on in Overwatch, but Counter-Strike is one of my favorites. Overwatch League was never really that interesting and Blizzard keeps trying to kill their game. Competitive CSGO and Valorant are actually interesting though. A sport I thought would be boring, but I love to watch drunk? Curling. Gets me more hyped than anything. I'll be sitting there yelling, brush the F out of that ice. Curling, the Winter Olympic sport you watch as a joke only to find out it's the most interesting sport at the Winter Olympics. It's like chess on ice. It's like if darts and bowling had a kid. As a huge Formula 1 fan, depending on where the race is, it's even more boring than NASCAR. Monaco is basically looking at scenery with commentary for around 2 hours. Something crazy almost always happens though. You just gotta wait for it. I remember there was one exciting pass, and as it was happening, they cut to someone driving over a curb. 18 Lance Stroll. What has happened? We have to know. Until it rains, then you gotta make popcorn. Staying up to watch Suzuka, what a mistake. Surfing. Hours of contestants just bobbing around the ocean and commentators trying their best to fill the gaps in action. I still watch almost every major contest, though. Lifelong surfer and was competitive in my younger days, and yeah, the waiting for waves is super boring, as a contest spectator, but when a set comes it is on. I don't watch many contests, but when I do, I am usually working, so I'll have it running in the background and only switch over when I hear the announcers get excited about something coming out the back. I once had a doctor ask me what I do for exercise, and when I told him I surf, he told me all I do is sit in the water and that isn't exercise. I told him to paddle out with me sometime, lol. My runner friend who runs 12 miles a day without blinking was gassed after 15 to 20 minutes in the water. I'm justifying, but yeah, it's boring. Highlights is where it's at. NASCAR. NASCAR should get back to its roots. Each driver carries a shipment of moonshine while being chased by the state police. Or just let the engineers go crazy and take off most of their restrictions. Then you run into the problem that F1 has, where the on-track racing is not that great. That then puts more emphasis on qualifying, and qualifying should never be the most entertaining part of a race weekend. I love F1, but it really bothers me that there is such a massive difference between the performance of the cars. I get that it's about pushing the limits of what's possible, but it gets boring knowing which team is going to win the season after the first few races. Golf is great background TV to sleep to. I had to scroll way farther than I thought I would to find golf. I actually like watching golf, but I'm not disagreeing with you. It's good background noise. Any sport you don't understand in detail. Volleyball is just watching people jump around keeping a ball in the air. You don't really need to know the details to enjoy watching it. Beach volleyball especially, for some reason. Cricket is the only game you can play for 5 days only for it to end up in a draw. With the current batting and bowling standards, the pitch has to be an absolute road for this to happen. The Test Championship and baseball have sort of reignited the desire for the teams to go for wins. As a cyclist, cycling. It's really cool to learn the technical parts and strategy of the sport, but I get bored watching people pedal for hours only for the real action to start a few miles away from the finish line. Watching them kill themselves climbing a tough hill can be pretty entertaining. I actually think the Grand Tours and the one-day Spring Classics counts among the most entertaining sports to watch on TV. Cyclocross is also pretty fun. Any sport during the Olympics, because of the horrible coverage and constant commercials. I've never seen an advertisement during Olympic coverage. In the UK it's always on the BBC and completely advertisement-free. Same in Germany. I actually love watching the Olympics because I get to see sports that usually don't get shown in TV, and I can watch all day basically without seeing commercials. Baseball. Baseball is perfect for radio while working in the yard. I still love watching baseball, but there really is nothing better than baseball on the radio. It's honestly a perfect sport to just listen to, especially when, as you said, working out in the yard or sitting on a patio. The linear play works for radio so much. You don't need to know much about what's going on away from the ball. Sailing. Maybe it was a fluke, but I watched an Olympic sailing event on TV last year in 2021 and thought it was awesome. It probably helped that the water was choppy and people were falling out of their boats though. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for daily uploads. After you've done that, check out one of our other videos.